The news a lot of Americans see and the manipulation that's distorting the 2024 election. That's tonight on Newsnight. Good evening. I'm Phillip in New York. The November choice is between two old men. We know that. But tonight I want to talk about the Joe Biden that Republicans want you to see and the pipeline of videos that aren't telling the full truth. Now, those videos are probably right now clogging the public consciousness as Americans start to think about their votes. The RNC wants to weaponize questions around Biden's age. And the follow-up to that question is he mentally fit enough to do the job again? It's a question that Donald Trump hopes is on voters' minds.
I think he should take a cognitive test like I did. I took a cognitive test and I aced it.
The latest video shoving this question in voters' faces is this one from a star-studded fundraiser a couple days ago. President Biden and former President Obama on stage waving to this crowd. And then there's a 6-second pause and then a walk off the stage. The New York Post screamed, "Freeze up." The White House fired back, accusing the conservative outlet of wildly misinterpreting what happened. It's far from the only example of this push-pull between what the president is seen and heard doing and how Republicans and conservative news allies are labeling what he's seen and heard doing. Now, you don't have to scroll too far down on the RNC's research account to find posts winking and nodding that Biden isn't all there. Posts like this one, showing Biden at the G7 summit wandering around. Now, the RNC would have you believe that this was all aimlessly. The New York Post saw the video and put the stills on the front page. Meanderer in chief. The problem is that is also wildly misleading. Biden wasn't staring off into the distance like a puppy distracted by a bird. He was watching a diving demonstration. He had a conversation with those aerial stuntmen. Welcome back. Joe Biden totally effed us. That, a quote from a Kamala Harris official in a new book that paints a damning picture of how far the White House went to hide his decline. Among the revelations from Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book, Biden's team hid him from his staff and even members of his cabinet. They considered that he may need a wheelchair in the future and contradicted warnings from his doctor. And Biden didn't recognize George Clooney, one of his longtime supporters and, of course, one of the most famous movie stars and faces on the planet. But as the scandal branches grow, what about the people who have political runways, the Pete Buttigiegs of the world, hitting a Midwest tour, Kamala Harris thinking about a run for California governor? Will and should their futures be impacted by this scandal? It kind of seems like the answer has to be yes, right?
Well, wait a minute.
Especially for someone like Kamala Harris.
I meant it, bite my tongue for no one,